Welcome to the Frugalpreneur Podcast. I am your host, Sarah St. John, and my guest today only works 4 months of the year, and he's going to tell us how. Welcome to the show, Dan Morris.
Hello, hello.
Can you give us a little bit of your background?
Let me just add a little disclaimer. We do have 11 children, so there is not a day that goes by where I am not working. 4 months is the goal, and it's what we've been doing, but mostly because we sort of had to decide to homeschool for COVID. So we thought, all right, well, this is how we're going to make it. But anyway, that's my disclaimer and teaser for what's coming. Background wise, I am actually a military brat. My grandfather was General Patton security guard in World War II. Father was in charge of the first Gulf War logistics for the Air Force. My brother in charge of the Star Wars program that Reagan created, building satellites that shot down missiles. He just retired. And my daughter-in-law was the first graduate from Tennessee to join the Space Force. So we're a military family over here. But in our household, all we have are stories of other people who are we're just fighting each other. But yeah, so I was a military brat, and which meant I grew up, learned to become a professional new kid, moved around. I learned how to meet people, how to talk to people, how to learn how to adapt in different situations. That was my upbringing. And for the most part, after graduating high school, I continued to move there a few years just because it was part of my blood. And now I'm in that weird, awkward place where I'm divorced and not allowed to move until the kids graduate. So I'm making the best of the situation by watching The Amazing Race as much as possible. It's like traveling, but you don't really travel. But otherwise, for about since 2008, I think 2008 was the big recession. If you remember, it was a pretty big recession. I was at the time I had finished 8 years as a commercial real estate developer. I built Walgreens pharmacies around. But one day, Walgreens called me and said, "I usually build 140 stores a year. This year, we're going to build 8 because the recession hit. So we've changed course." So that was the day. It was like October of 2008. That was the day I realized, all right, well, this career is over. Moving on to something else. And that something else was my parents were already dabbling on the internet. My mom was a computer programmer, helped during Y2K. And they sort of got me interested in me, see what I could do online. So in 2008, I got on Twitter, actually became the #1 most famous Twitter user in Tennessee. For a while, on all these little different charts that they had until, the one day when country music found Twitter, and then, I was not on the chart anymore. It was over. It took over millions of followers all of a sudden. About a year into using Twitter, I had a lunch meet with somebody else that I'd actually met on Twitter, social media world, and she illuminated how social media works for me in like 3 minutes. And prior to that, I didn't even know I didn't get, but she just said, when you're a business owner online, it's kind of like a bicycle wheel. Your business is the hub of the wheel. And then you have all these social media properties out there interacting with different people, all driving traffic back to the hub. So you can get an account on Twitter, you talk about stuff, you become friends with people, tweet out things that would be helpful. You write blog posts on your blog and you tweet those out, and those people can come to your website from social media. Those are as basic and rudimentary as it gets, really. But it just everything clicked at that moment. I was like, I get it. I don't need to just be on Twitter to be on Twitter. There's got to be a reason. I have to go. I need to do something. I need to create something. So, like everyone else, that didn't happen. I floundered for a while. I had clients. I did SEO consulting. We had this big group. I spoke at conferences. I made an ebook. I made some sales. Felt like I was totally in love with the medium of making money online, but I wasn't, for some reason, I wasn't 100% in line with what I needed to be to actually make it work. And not only that, it seemed like every few months I got clarity. Like, oh, I get it. I know what I'm going to do. And then a few months later, I would get clarity, but it was in a slightly different direction. So I wasn't ever really building something, like one thing. But then I would see other people like Ruth Sukup, who has this blogging. It's all she had. Like she would talk about that thing at the time. I would be starting this, starting that. And working on this and speaking at conferences and root and just doing stuff. And it just seemed so boring to me, like to do one thing. But she did that one thing very well. And then because it was doing well, it gave her opportunity to maybe hire a consultant to think about doing ads. Well, when she had some money to test it, and she made some money on ads. And when she made money on ads, she realized, ooh, I could spend more money. And since as long as the ads are profitable, she could really drive traffic to this one thing. And since she wasn't working on 97 other things, whenever she had extra time, she could go make that one. And to me, it still seemed like just the one thing. It seems like you got to be doing lots of stuff online. But eventually, I guess maturity at some point sets in and you realize I actually need to focus on something. I need to be the best at something. Everybody's good at a little. Everybody's doing a little thing. But when we want questions answered, we want the person who's the best at the thing. People will ask, do you know an SEO guy? Like somebody who's very good at SEO, not just somebody who does it and does 98 other things. They want to talk to somebody who's really good at that thing. And right now, I personally am looking for an email guy who knows about the DKIM and all this behind the scenes stuff that you do to prevent your email from going into the spam box. Like I need to find an expert who knows how to set up the website and email marketing companies so they all touch, they talk, and they tell the ISP that you're a legitimate, like somebody knows all that stuff. I need to find that. And so I just decided I just need to become an expert or something. And then that thing that fell into our lap, I don't think we even decided. I think it sort of fell into our lap and we decided to run more than it. I think that's how everything happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny because your story sounds somewhat similar to mine because it was 2008. I had 6 different jobs that year throughout the course of the year. Decided working for someone else wasn't gonna work for me, and I tried a bunch of different things online, and so I had my foot in kind of, I don't know. I mean, at one point, probably not at the same time, 30 different things, but over the course of I finally found my thing, which is podcasting, but it took over a decade to get
Mm.
there. But yeah, so it's interesting to hear your story about how you were kind of involved in different ways of making money online. When you say that it landed in your lap, are you talking about your bloggingconcentrated.com?
It wasn't,
Oh, okay. What were you referring to?
but I think that's probably a good place to start.
Okay.
So during when I was trying to figure out what to do, I met Rachel Greenmark, who runs FindAJoy.me, who's not my wife, but before she was just this. I met her at a conference with lots of other people because I was speaking, because I was doing the speaking circuit in all places. Well, I learned enough to be able to teach what I knew. So I taught that into different places. But what I didn't realize was there's no point in just talking at conferences. Becoming known at conferences doesn't pay the bills. But that's what I did for her. So I met Rachel. And then when I got home, I was sifting through business card, going to check out the site and, maybe said maybe there would be a consulting. And I got to Rachel's site and I was like, whoa, this is the real deal. She's got a blog with like 300,000 fans. And that's not 8,000. I mean, that's like a big one. So I said to her note, I was like, I think I treated you just like everybody else. And I apologize. I didn't realize that you had built an empire of your own. So we started chatting a little bit. And I told her that I was going to go to Denver to put on my own conference because I've been doing all these conferences. And I thought, you know what? I should do my own. And I knew this pocket of bloggers in Denver, even though I live in Michigan. And I thought I should start where it's easy, where the pocket is that would automatically buy a ticket. So I told her I was going to go out there and she said, I have to go to Denver to meet this book publisher. I said, well, if you come, I'll go with you to your book publishing meeting. So it's not as awkward. It's just sitting there with a bunch of book publishing. And you could come help me with mine. And then at the end of that day, she told me, you can't do this on your own. I was busy every second of that day while you were talking. There's so much you have to do for an event. And I was like, oh, really? Well, I just needed to open the door and talk. She's like, are you kidding? I was in social media and handling lunch and catering and answering questions and all these other things. From that moment, we ended up doing, I think, 110 workshops around the world, blogging concentrate workshops. 14 of them were in New Zealand. We did 2 tours. So let me just say, Frugalpreneurs, we only paid for a venue once in all of our time. In fact, I'll tell you,
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
here's the hack. You can make a lot of money if you don't have an ego. So this is what we figured out. If I were to find a mover and shaker in a particular town, a real estate guy, an insurance guy, some guy with the BN group or whatever those networking groups, if I could find somebody to and convince them that I would put on a workshop for their audience, if they could just find like a venue, they know like the Lions Club people, they know this business over here, it's got a conference room, they know stuff. They know the library, which has this big conference area that they could get for free and live there. So anyway, we found movers and shakers in different towns. And sometimes that was like Twitter. I called Twitter and I said, what would you think if I brought a bunch of bloggers to San Francisco for the day? If we used your conference facility and then you came in and spoke about Twitter at lunchtime, could we do that? And they were like, yeah, that sounds good to us. And then I did it to Constant Contact and Aweber, like all of these companies I worked. They called up and said, hey, can we do workshops? And they all had, all the ones that, well, not all of them. Some of them said they didn't have a facility, but the ones that did, they were like, yeah, come on in. I said, yeah, you can talk at lunch. You can talk about the company, whatever you do. You can, pamphlets, whatever. And so for each of these places, it would be that person's conference. Come to my 8-hour workshop. I'm bringing Dan and Rachel from the United States in. They're going to teach digital marketing. And then they would be this more powerful, prominent person in town because they're bringing out of town guests to do their own workshop. And we would have all those people come to our website and buy the ticket. And then we would, we would run the whole thing. But our name wasn't really anywhere. His name was, their names were all over it. And for us, it was a chance to get in front of a bunch of people and make money. And we could pick a place we wanted to go, to pick New Zealand, and then figure out, all right, how do we sell enough tickets to be able to afford the trip, to make money? And then in that case, New Zealand, we ended up doing 7 cities twice. We didn't make enough money. So we needed multiple places. And in one of those, we mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk. People didn't know who that was. And to me, that was so strange because I was thinking, isn't Facebook and the internet like the great equalizer, especially in our world? So we came home and we were like, we should put on an event where we introduce the experts we met abroad to our audience, and then our experts here to their audience. So we could mix and match all the stuff that in your individual Facebook groups. It's a little ancestral ideas. People were talking about the same plugins, the same versions. But we could really shake it up if we introduce people who didn't know each other existed. And so in 2014, this is what fell on our lap. We decided to do this one event, which we called BC Stack, because at the time we were blogging concentrated. But since then, we've called it business courses. And we was like a product summit is really what it is. Instead of a regular summit where you just show up on Tuesday night and you get to hear 3 speakers, and show up on Wednesday night and you get 3 more. This is all the products coming to you. So we have 65 experts in the digital marketing world. For email marketing, video, how to get your podcast on Alexa, all these different things that we need to do. In each one of them brings their best product to the table, and then we put them together in the stack. And then the way everybody wins in our mind was all of the experts would walk away with a new audience because all those people would sign up to get the product. And then all of the people who bought the product would end up with 65 new courses that they didn't have. And then the money we would give to anyone who promoted, like the affiliates, in order to convince them to promote more so that more people get the products and the contributors get bigger lists. Like, this is a win-win-win. And so in 2014, we started that, and now it's 2022, and we're in year 8, and that one is live this week, I think, June 13th to the 19th.
Yeah, and you also have the podcasters kit as well, which last year I had my book in there. When is it going to be for 2022?
I think it's the second week of October.
Oh, okay, because I'll have a new book and probably a course by then, so I could maybe contribute that.
So yeah, about 3 years ago, we decided to add a second, and I decided podcasting because Rachel and I had the Amplify Today podcast. And now I have Tracing the Path podcast. And a director at Podcast Magazine. And I thought a whole lot of my world is podcast related. It wouldn't be very stretched for me at all to work on just something podcast. And so yeah, every year now we have BC Stack in June, and we have the Podcasters Kit in October, and both of those take about 2 months of work. So that's 4 months of work a year. It
Oh,
makes some money right now that we're not struggling, but it makes enough money that we have to do a lot of stuff, which is by design because we're homeschooled, amongst other things. And then Rachel's son money comes in from the blog because she's homeschooled. So actually, for the very first time of our relationship, in June, we'll be in the same house without schooling where we can actually work and start to get more stuff done. We haven't done up until now. It's been homeschool and the 2 stacks. So
wow. So like the June one, so you start working on that in April, I guess. And then for the October, you start working on that one in August?
yep. And then last year we had 10,000 saves. So 12. And then the Podcasters Kit, it's more like 3. But we're in the 3rd year. It's kind of small. So I'm hoping for 4. It's 4. That's my goal. Although my wife tells me I need to dream bigger. 30,000. I'm like, well, okay, I'll dream about it. But in the meantime, I'm going to work on 4.
Right. You'll gradually get there. So I'm curious, like if someone is interested in creating a business model like this, not in your space, but say they have a particular topic and they know a bunch of people on that topic and want to.
So we do this for people. We do it for a Spanish teacher, speakinglatino.com. We do it for From Portuguese. And we do it for Rachel's site, which is Motherhood. It works in any niche. And what's great is you're actually doing a favor for all the people that are in it, helping them book lists out there. It creates a way for you to meet all the people in your world. And then you can also connect people in your world, which gives you a new role. Like, hey, these two, you get to do something. So yeah, I'm working in any niche that I can think of. And I'm actually thinking about, we have a really small resveratrol blog that I started years ago. I'm thinking about doing it in the resveratrol healthy wine world as well.
So basically, as I understand it, the way it works is you gather up several people within a niche. They contribute something for free that maybe they would normally charge for.
They have to normally charge.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, it's pointless.
people will say, I could have got this. I made that mistake the first year.
Okay. So, yeah, something that they charge for, they're giving away for free. But
No.
the advantage to them is that it's going to grow their list because everyone that buys this stack will then now be on their email list or
Well, it's even better than that. It's not everyone, because if you're a podcaster and there's a podcast 101 product in the kit, if you're going to get all of the podcast people who want to start a podcast, out of the 10,000 people that have raised their hand and said, I'm interested in podcasting, and then they've forked over $50 that says, I'm more than interested and willing to put my money behind. And then they get into the room with all the products and they actually go pick yours and not that one because your product is exactly suited to what they want. It's kind of like when you go to the salad bar. I don't put beets on my, no chance, or cottage cheese, no chance. But I will put garbanzo beans and blue cheese. I know that those are perfect things for me. So when you think about it that way, when all these people get into the room who are target market, the ones who are really your target market are going to come directly to you because they have all these choices, but yours is the one that screams to them first. So you really do look great favor, because if somebody's sitting on their couch in Oklahoma, first they have to read a headline on an email that says podcasting. Then they have to read the email that says, hey, we got this, bunch of products together. Come look at the sales page. Then they have to go to the sales page. They have to read the sales page, see the buy button, use the buy button, get to the download page, and then decide to get on your list. That's a pretty good list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It grew mine when I was on the Podcasters Kit. And so then the way that you make money is basically you really don't have, I guess, any I mean, you have your hosting costs for your website and portal and all that stuff, but you don't really have any expenses, I guess, because people are giving you this stuff for free. You make money from, the 50 bucks or whatever per person to buy this stack.
No, no, no. That's
Oh.
actually a myth. How exciting is that? So 50% of the price goes to the affiliate.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, we do a little marketing on our own, but really it's affiliates. You
Mhm.
just find affiliates. And then 10% goes to the affiliate who brought them to the table. So maybe they bought the product from someone else. So 10% will go to that someone else. And then the other 40%, we give about $30,000 worth of cash bonuses to incentivize to sell even more. But the way that we make money is that we, as an upsell, we pre-sell the next year's for $27. So we make some of that. And then the ninja method is a lot of these people have affiliate programs. So we turn the link to their free product into an affiliate link. And then when those people buy stuff from our contributors all year long, I get the checks in PayPal every single month, all year. So we're trying to get it to the point where we make like $3,000 or $4,000 a month just from affiliate sales, from 5 years ago. Even people are still buying stuff from those people that were a lifetime affiliate for. So we make money.
Wow. That's like this whole thing is a genius way for someone to start an online business for hardly any money.
Although we pay $600 in hosting fees a month,
Oh, per
we pay
month.
450 in email marketing fees. And then we have some consultants. But yeah, once you get your email gets to a certain size, it's expensive. And even Google Analytics, once you get so much traffic, you actually have to pay Google. It's not free anymore. They say, well, if you want it free, we can give you your analytics like a week later. FindingJoy.net, sometimes to 200,000 people a day.
Mm,
So that kind of traffic becomes an expense for sure. So
mm.
there's lots of expenses as you grow. I will say that, but just don't go away.
The 600 for the website hosting?
Yeah, we have several sites, and some of them, one of them, well, Rachel's site, because the traffic is crazy, you have to pay extra to scale quick. She could get 500,000 people,
Mhm.
and most hosts, your site will just shut.
Oh, I see.
HostGator, we've used quite a few sites, but MomWebs, we use that for some sites, which we like. They're scalable. But yeah, and in terms of, when you get traffic, it ends up costing.
So, for people who have never purchased a stack, as a purchaser, the way it works is you get all these courses, ebooks, whatever, for one fee. And then you log in, you have a dashboard, and you have access. You don't have to take them all, read them all, but you have access to all of them. So, it's saving you like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars than if you were to purchase these things individually. I love that the consolidation.
So there's actually a couple of other benefits.
Okay.
The first one is the obvious is that you said you save money on all these courses. But there's a different side that I think a lot of people don't think, and that is the learning curve for an online business is pretty steep. Learning all of the different things. One of the things that slows us down is our not knowing what to get next, not knowing what we need. And then the cost associated with getting those things. And then once we even know that we need to learn this, figuring out which one to get, all of those moments of indecision, they compound. And what happens is because you don't know what you're doing, you end up posting another time on Facebook. You end up doing another blog, post, putting out another podcast. But not because you're strategically doing it because you know that's what you need to do. You're doing it because, so with Podcasters Kit or VC Stack, if we're going to give you a serious number of tools that you can use, and if you actually use them, then it will create new questions and new strategies that you didn't have before because now you have information instead of just not knowing where to go next. And you're going to get things you didn't even know that you need. You're going to learn things that you wouldn't have asked in the first place. Do it, watch the thing, and and then learn how to apply those lessons to your business. I mean, you can grow much, much quicker than if you sit in this moment of, I know I need to be doing more. I know I need the site to grow, but I don't exactly know what it is. So that's the second benefit. And the third is we give out 10 $500 business plans to buyers. So once everybody's purchased, we have a little job form, basically tell us why you bought Stack and when you plan to do business. And then we pick out 10 people who've given us $500 business plan so they can go away, do more things with the business. So that'll be another benefit of the Stack. And then the third is if you promote it, you can actually make money, which is the whole idea in the first place, which is why you're doing this. But if it's you have an audience of digital marketers or people who are learning to build a business online, social media managers, the Stack is something that could help them as well. And then you walk home with some money, even if you bought it, make yourself some money too. So there's many advantages for buyers.
Whether you bought it or you contributed to it, or yeah, you can use an affiliate link to promote it and make, because I made some money at promoting the Podcaster Stack as well, in addition to growing my email list
Sure.
because of people, in order for someone to, so basically it's a dashboard, has all the products, courses, books, whatever,
Yep.
but each one, you have to go into each one. And so you're not automatic, like say you purchase the Stack, you're not automatically on everybody's email list. You have to
No, no,
actually
you're
go
not,
in.
you're not on anybody's list until you
Right.
decide this is what I want, because most of them are courses. They're not like a PDF ebook. So, for a course, you have to go to their website and you have to register for it. And we give you the coupon code to make
Mhm.
it zero. That's kind of, but then there are other things like tickets to live events. You have to register for the live event and all that kind of stuff. And we make sure you don't pay a while. And so, yeah, all of those things. Plus, we have a Facebook group where after the Stack is over, June 19th, then I have our go. We do an academy, like a workshop. So we go through every single product that's in it. So if you have questions, there's a thread where you can ask questions why, and you can ask questions after. And we encourage you, if you already have a bunch of courses on your cart and you're like, I don't need more courses, is get the Stack. And then on the day that we're going to do like email marketing workshop based on email marketing, bring up your other old courses that you already have, read through them all at once, and then use the workshop to ask questions about all of them so that you could finally put those in archive, take the notes that you need, do what you need, get those out of your guilt pile. Like, oh, I can't believe I didn't do that. Get it all done at once and keep going.
So for someone who's interested in starting a business like this, what are the beginning steps that you would recommend? I mean, obviously, I guess making connections with people that would be in the niche that you're going to start the Stack on.
So if you're starting from scratch, I recommend one thing, and that is to create a universe spreadsheet. Because this is what I. So I want you to go to Amazon. I want you to find every author in your niche, top people. I want you to go to YouTube, who are the top people. I want you to go to Facebook, who are the top people. I want you to Google every keyword in your niche and start making columns. These are all of the people in our world. Let me tell you, Oprah Winfrey knows Tom Cruise because they're the top of the world of that area. So if the top people do not know who you are, that means you are not one of them. In order to get to that spot, you just need to know them. But you can't know them unless you have it written down who they are. And you don't know. Like you could look at your bookcase, see what books you like, write down the authors, and then go find them. Go find the website, find the contact form, find the email address, find everything you can. I would say our spreadsheet is 13,000 lines deep. And we have A through double Z, however many columns there is. And each column is a different thing that I keep track of. Like if you're a speaker at Tony Robbins' event, I keep track of every single speaker, what year they were, because the moment that I want to reach out to that person, remember, this is my business. So if I'm not good at what I do, then what would I do? If I want to reach out to Tony Robbins, I would like to be able to say, I saw that you spoke here about this topic. I'm interested. I'm interested in hearing more about that. I think our audience would like it. But for me, it also makes me realize there are some people out there who are just everywhere. So those people I actually cross off those because I want our Stack to be unique. I would want to have one person who's on every single podcast and you can hear them no matter where you go, and every blog post, everybody's talking to them. So I keep track of that as well. That way I don't create a product where everyone goes, oh yeah, I already have that product and already heard that. I know I cannot create. So create the universe spreadsheet. Know everyone in your world. If you don't know everyone in your world already, are you really in, or you just have like a little niche wall? Like you should know all the conferences. You should know all the summits. We use TalkWalker. You can use Google Alerts if you want, but I have all of our keywords in TalkWalker, and every day I get an email that says digital marketing conference, and here's a link to somebody mentioned it. So I can go see, oh, there's another conference. Who put them on? Who are the speakers? And start adding them to my spreadsheet, keeping track of relationships, keeping track of topics that they teach on, what the website is, what the products are. You just got to start controlling your niche. We started with John Lee Dumas and Joel Kahn. We knew them. I knew that if we spoke to them, they would probably be, and then I knew if I could get them in, I could get somebody else in. So definitely go with the biggest dog you can find. Even if that person is small, the person knows another small person. Say, hey, your friend Tracy is going to be in our product this month. We were wondering if you would be interested. I saw you guys knew each other. I would like to talk to you about it. Here's what we do. Now you've got two. Tracy and Donna are going to be in our product. You know, Donna runs this site. Tracy runs this site. I see that you run a related site. We'd like to know if you're interested. You work your way, but try to find the biggest name that you can find, that you can get, and you know your warm audience. LinkedIn will tell you. Facebook will tell you common friends. So you can work your way in. But once you do one, then you have an example you can show is last year or last month or however you want to do it. And it gets much easier for that, but you definitely have to hustle. And totally be fine with no's. Don't sweat the no's. They don't know you. You've done before. You can always come back and get bigger. You've got your whole thing kind of honed in. You can come back, but just figure out how many people does it take to get 20 yeses. Does it take 100? When you have 100, fine. And you got to talk to 100 people. But just be fine with that fast. I mean, people are busy. People don't know who you are necessarily. You caught them at the wrong time. The pet just died. You have no idea. So just try to let the no's roll off. And then there will be a point in time when you don't have any no's. You're fielding people asking you if they can meet. And that does happen. There comes a day when you're like, wow, I had more inquiries this year than I needed. Like I could fill it all without asking anyone. So just keep that in mind. But you definitely have to hustle.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing all this information. It's been very interesting and helpful and a frugal way for someone to get started with an online business if they don't have one already. So,
I was to say, so speaking of frugal, let's keep it into the frugal part.
yeah.
If you wanted to start this business, it does take hustle. But other than hustle, you need a web page, which you could get at Wix. I'm not a huge fan of that, but you could get one at Wix. You need an affiliate tracking software. I don't know of any that's free, but that's okay. Some things you need to pay for. I mean, like if you're going to start a Subway franchise, besides needing $257,000, you still actually have to buy something to toast the bread. Like no matter how cheap you want to get. So you do need to pay for some affiliate software and you want it to work. So paying is probably good. You know, we use Amonger, which is a Russian company, and it's making me nervous right now because I don't exactly know what we're going to shut down. And they had something like I don't really want, but then there's, it's ClickFunnels, Amember, and Wishlist member. Just look for membership software. And there's plenty of plugins that work, which is also free. You'll need a domain name, which is like $9. Affiliate software. We use Thrive Builder to build the page, but I think that's only like $7.99. But you don't need it. You can just use Wix, or you can use WordPress to build the sales page. You don't need it. Or the PayPal button and the affiliate software are free. Affiliate software will enable you to pay everyone. That doesn't cost you anything. You need to hustle. You got to do a lot of work. I don't know where else you actually have to pay things. I will say that as you grow, you make money. You'll want to pay for it. So you'll want to have more functions. You'll want a countdown button, which might not be, there's some cheap ones, some free ones, but you might want a special kind. As you grow, obviously, you have some money to put into it to make any difference. But I will say sometimes fancy doesn't increase the conversions. There's a few things we've done when we've paid for something and now let's just go back to the real place. It comes. So it doesn't cost a lot,
Mhm.
but it does require you to be okay with cold call. And I didn't know that I was okay with cold, but I'm thinking that maybe going of military, and telling LinkedIn all the time, probably easy. But I
Mhm.
will say, just like with Sarah, I can grow your emails. Like I know that with the June event, I can grow it by a lot. So when I cold call you, I'm calling you to tell you, like, I'm going to help build your business. Because one of the things that's hard for all of us is growth. Like you can get an email list, but people unsubscribe. It's not going to stay the same size forever. If it doesn't grow, it gets small. So I give you an opportunity 1 week if you're willing to just put faith in me for a week and let me have your baby, your best spot, the thing you just love. You cannot believe that somebody would get free. Just let me have that for 1 week, just one shot. You have 51 other weeks where you can sell, right? For that week, I would like to use it in the stack. And in exchange, I'm going to grow the business. This is the end. This is what I'm going to try to do. Now, if I'm not very good at explaining it, well, then it takes 10 more cold calls, kind of like work through how are you going to say it? How are you going to come across and be okay with it? So, and the other thing is when you're small, you don't get a lot of traffic. There's a lot you can mess up on and be invisible at the same time. So,
Mhm.
Tony Robbins and the President of the United States and Elon Musk, they don't have a lot of opportunities to mess up. They mistweet something, they missay something, everyone knows about it. But I mistweet something, you'll never know. I just tweet. No, but I screw up the product 1 year and I'll give some money back. I'll apologize. When you're small, you can make mistakes. They suck. You always pit of your stomach. It sucks, and you get that feeling. You feel like, wow, this feels horrible. But, in the end, it's just people. You just treat them kindly. Everything will go fine. So if you're looking for a new job, this is a good one. If you're not outgoing, you could be my assistant, but it does require a little bit.
Yeah, and if you already have a business, an online business or some kind of podcasting related business, you could contribute your course or ebook or whatever to the stack as well, or software maybe even.
Yep,
Um,
love lots of software. Although I will tell you, EC Stack is pretty big.
mm,
So we've had a few years where it was too big for the
mm,
people software. Or 1 year somebody offered to do logo, and I was like, you do understand you might get 2,000 requests this week, right? And
mm.
they're like, no, no, we have plenty of staff. We can handle it. And, like 6 days later, they're like, whoa, we can't do this. It's way too much. I'm like, I was trying to. So I'm a little bit more wary now. Be a little bit more. Yeah, we would love to help you introduce. Oh, we didn't talk about? This is another benefit.
Mm,
Um, in Facebook, all the time, people are asking, what's the best course for this? Or what's the best course? What if 2,000 more people can answer your course is the one they took? Like, how many more sales could you make next year if that many people are saying your course is the one that they took?
mm,
Because right now, everybody's saying the same 6 courses that everybody's taking because that's what everybody took. So you're not on that list. With the stack, I can get that many people to take your course, and then they can be the ones out there evangelizing for you, helping you make more sales.
mm,
So if
mhm,
you look at all the angles, there's not a lot of downside.
mm.
In my opinion, there's zero downside. Every once in a while, somebody who just isn't.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate it. And people can check out those stacks and learn more at bloggingconcentrated.com. And I'll have show notes also at thesarahstjohn.com/Dan Morris. Thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, well, thanks for having me.